Welcome again to another episode of Motion Picture Meltdown. I'm Stephen the Roast Rosenberg, and joining me today is Phil the Kill Collins and Mark the Shark Hinton.
I'm going to be polite. Thank you, Stephen.
Just interrupting.
That's what makes you the co-host and not the co-host.
The guy in the shitty
not the co-host.
The guy in the shitty broken chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
the chair that has been cheatsed.
We can move a little bit so he can move up between us, so he can feel.
I can be the penis in between us.
So you can feel important.
Fuck all of you.
So you can be the hot dog between the buns. Hot
dogs. So today for you, we will be roasting Showdown in Little Tokyo.
Oh yeah.
As well as the Delta Force, and I guess we'll start with the Delta Force, starring Chuck Norris and Lee Marvin. Chuck Norris, I guess if you don't know who he is, just
get the fuck out.
Yeah, just look and see who wants to.
Just turn on the internet. You'll automatically find Chuck Norris.
Just look and see who wants to be president of Texas once it secedes from the United States.
Yeah, or you could just go to Google and type in beard, and Chuck Norris will probably pop up as the first picture.
Or the first 100 pictures.
Yeah.
And then Robert Forster plays Abdul, the bad guy.
Abdul.
Yeah.
And
basketball bad guy is like the general or
Robert
something.
Vaughn is his name. Yeah. And
villain.
And somewhere in this movie is Liam Neeson.
Yeah, Liam Neeson is in here somewhere.
Hiding.
It's funny because there is this like spy terrorist Israeli guy who me and Philip were like, why is that Liam Neeson?
Like, that's fucking Liam Neeson.
And then Mark's like, Liam Neeson's in that movie, so I'm like, but it wasn't him.
It says he's a fucking.
He's a Delta Force member.
He's just a random extra.
Yeah,
I guess. When was this movie made?
86.
So was that like before his career was anything? Like
it was after Kroll.
It was right after Kroll, though. Only like a year or two after Kroll, and he didn't get any big
filmed
acting
at the
roles
same
until
time.
like the 90s.
Yeah. Which is very strange, in my opinion.
Well, he's older, too. It's weird, because he was already in his 40s or so when actually he started getting bigger roles.
Yeah.
Well, he was too busy being a badass.
That's what it was. Like, he bided his time. He waited until he was the most badass person ever.
When was Rob Roy? That was early 90s.
Early 90s, 92, 93, maybe? Might have been a little after that, but fuck, I don't know.
So in this movie, he was just biding his time.
Yeah, we need to play Where's Liam?
Yeah, we do. You watch this movie again for 3 fucking hours.
It is fucking long.
Way
it's
too
so long.
Like 2 hours and 10 minutes of just... Chuck Norris is in like 4 scenes of the fucking movie.
I know.
That doesn't make any sense. He's like the title character almost, and yet he's in it for hardly anything.
I know.
I mean, at the end, it's just only Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
But
They show Chuck Norris at the beginning saving his friend Pete, and it's before Chuck Norris has his beard, so he's not a badass yet. He only has a fucked up mustache.
Yeah.
And then he gets his whole mullet and his beard and everything.
And his denim everything.
That's how Chuck Norris ages in movies, though. He has the mustache first and then full beard later.
Yeah, and then it also... And denim.
Yes, Beardsley.
And of course the jean jacket, the cutoff jean jacket.
Yeah.
With the really tight pants.
He did not have a stare down with a bear, though.
No.
Which he did in an episode of Walker, Texas Ranger.
And then you said in some other movie he ate a mongoose.
Yeah, in one of the Missing in Action movies, which they made a few of them, like like an old Vietnamese form of torture was to take like some sort of mongoose or something like that, and they would throw it into like
some
a burlap
sort of
bag. Yeah, and then they would tie it around a guy's head and hang him upside down from a tree with maul his face. Well, they did that with Chuck Norris, and I'm like, ooh, it's eating Chuck Norris's face. And I was real little when I saw it, and they ripped the bag off, and Chuck Norris is holding it in his mouth and just goes and spits it out. I was like, yes.
Oh my god, he ate
I'm really surprised this
Like
is our
Conan
first.
with the fucking vulture.
Oh my god, it is.
I'm really surprised this is the first Chuck Norris podcast we've done.
That's what I said. I was like, why haven't we done any fucking Chuck Norris movies?
Because he's such a shitty.
Because there's so many shitty
talks.
movies.
He hardly ever talks.
Yeah,
in
it's
his
true.
movies.
He doesn't say anything.
I don't know, but like you did
Unless
say,
it has to do about the total gym or creationism.
yeah.
Well, when you're in Texas, look behind you, and that's where Delta Force is going to be.
It is such a fucking long, boring ass movie.
It's like 20 different plots, all like staple gunned together. It's just garbage. It's really just impossible to explain.
Now are they Libyans?
Lebanese. Yeah.
They take over this.
God, they hate the fuck out of the Jews.
Yeah, they take over
God,
this
they do.
airplane, and then they realize that there possibly could be one Jew aboard.
It's so fucking racist.
So they make all the Jewish people
Well, I
come to the
guess
front and tie them up, and then along with the Jewish people comes this, like, clearly straight out of New York, even though he's from Chicago.
Yeah. Catholic priest.
Father
Hey, guys.
O'Malley.
What are you doing here?
You call.
What is your name?
William O'Malley.
I did not call you.
You call for all the Jews. I'm Jewish, just like Jesus Christ.
I'm Father O'Malley.
I'm Father O'Malley. I'm Jewish. Can you
With an
tell I'm Jewish?
Obvious Irish Catholic. not fucking Jewish. Probably never saw a Jew before in his life except for pictures of Jesus. That's it.
And then they took him. They were like, oh, fuck it. We'll take this guy too.
It's a priest.
He
Whatever.
could possibly have a little Jew in him.
God.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. And then they capture a couple
Which
of...
they never really even do anything with him, do they? They just capture him and then they just...
Yeah, they just hold him hostage. And then they also capture, like, 3 Navy Marines.
They're Navy divers.
I know, but he keeps saying they're
You keep saying
Navy...
that they're Navy Marines. It's like, no, they're either the Navy or they're the Marines.
Which one is it?
They don't know.
You can tell this movie was like not written by people that had any fucking idea what the military was. First off, what Steven pointed out to me in a text message yesterday is that
motorcycle.
everybody's holding fucking Uzis and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like the whole military, just only Uzis.
When was the MAC-10 military issued?
Right.
Apparently,
Like,
that's all
nobody
they had.
used that shit. They're inaccurate fucking guns.
That's exactly what
They're
I said. I was
crap.
like, you wouldn't hit shit with that thing.
No
And meanwhile, Chuck Norris
And they're
is
like
riding a
side
motorcycle.
shooting it too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, they're
just
fucking
gangster.
Pop a gat.
Oh, it's so shitty. But they do end up killing one of the... Well, the terrorists do end up killing one of the Navy Marines.
Yeah,
and
just
they
fucking-
shoot him and throw him out of the
I thought
airplane.
they stabbed him. Oh no, he shot him in the back. Like
Shoots him in the
through
back.
top of his back.
And then throws him out of the airplane, and he makes the sound like in Maximum Overdrive when they hit that cart of watermelons. That just sounded like pudding hitting the ground.
Oh,
Yeah.
gross.
Just straight. It's like an elephant taking a dump off a building. That's what it sounded like.
Wow, that would be pretty gross.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Oh, I can't.
Elephant dump falling from the sky.
Let's talk about just some of the idiotic shit in this movie, like the fact that they go to rescue these people from the what was it, Philip? The terrorist headquarters.
Yeah, they went to terrorist headquarters.
Then
Terrorism
they call
headquarters.
They called it that too, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's what it said on the screen. It just popped up and it was like, oh, terrorist headquarters. Well, here we are. Man, if just...
Because they just advertise that shit neon blinking sign, you know. Wah, wah. Oh, you know, one of the biggest contradictions in the movie that I want to point out is that on the plane at the beginning when the two obviously Muslim terrorists take people hostage, on the plane they hijack the plane, and then not only do they take the people hostage, they're, you know, wanting to yank all the Jews off the plane. But what I thought was hilarious was when the one, you know, kind of conscientious terrorist is nice to the little girl. Here's your dolly back. He gives it to her. But the best part was when the pregnant lady is being all uncomfortable and he moves her up to the front and lays all the seats out for her so she can lay down.
Yeah.
He's Muslim. He would not give a fuck. He'd be like...
Racism.
He would be like, no.
That's
If
kinda
he was
true,
a
though.
Muslim terrorist, that means he's an extremist. And if they're trying to kill all the Jews, that means that he would look at her and be like, bitch, put a bag on your head.
Yeah.
You're wearing not enough clothing.
Put a bag on your head.
What about the captain
Oh my
just not
God.
giving a shit?
Oh, yeah. He was like white 1986 Samuel L. Jackson.
Did not care.
They were
No.
like,
He was like, all right, well, I've been on this plane for like 50 hours now. Let's fly all the way back to the United States. Like, it's no problem. I don't mind doing that.
Yeah.
I've been shitting in my hat for the last fucking 6 days.
But what I was initially talking about was whenever the Delta Force was going to the terrorist headquarters and they were sneaking in at night and they had all black like diving suits on and then like the most fluorescent neon yellow diving tanks.
Oh yeah,
so obvious, and their fucking goggles were fucking.
What about
bright
how
yellow
fucking
too.
America they wear, where they're like, everybody put your badges on, and they take out like their self-adhesive stick-on American flag patch, slap it on their shoulder like it's gonna fucking stick while they're at war. Look, America don't come off.
These colors don't run.
But it's like what me and Philip mentioned during the Street Fighter podcast because they were running around in like camo gear with like powdered blue helmets on.
It's like you're not sneaking anywhere. You can see you from any amount of distance.
Right.
And
In
then
space, they still see you.
And then it was the middle of the night, and there was no lights or anything, and they were under the ocean, and
they were
talking to each other and making motions to each other because
you can obviously see whenever you're underwater at nighttime. Or really just
what about the
underwater
Jeeps they rode around in with the blue headlights? Which, I mean, I understand that, and they really did use those. That the blue headlights you can't see from a distance. But have you ever tried to look anywhere more than 10 feet in front of you with blue lights? You can't see dick.
Nope.
And Chuck Norris had his dirt bike that had fucking
Missiles.
Like,
Dude,
well,
the
no,
missiles.
they weren't missiles. They were fucking or like rockets. Like
Bottle rockets?
not bottle rockets, but like science fair rockets.
Where did the science go? And he had an unlimited supply, by the way.
Yeah.
And unlimited supply of motorcycles.
So
Just
dumb.
them getting run over, doesn't matter. He just picks it back up, keeps riding on it.
Every cheesy action movie has motorcycles in it. Always.
Oh, yeah. Duh. It has
But
to.
they usually don't have missiles attached.
And the same fucking music theme going through the entire movie.
Even the sad parts of the movie. Just, it
Yeah, what
never
about
ends.
at the beginning of the movie when they first showed Chuck Norris, like after the whole "I've grown a beard" part, and he's like eating scrambled eggs, and he hears like, "Oh, people have been taken hostage aboard the American Airlines flight, blah blah blah," and he just throws his fork down, struts outside, and just leaves because he's like, "Well, I know they're going to call because I am the Delta Force."
Yeah. And then he gets there, and they're like, "Glad I didn't have to use this. It's a letter from the president ordering your return." And he just crumples it up and throws it in his Jeep.
He's like, fuck this thing. I get shit from the president all the time.
One of my favorite lines in this movie is when the terrorists are like stopped, and he walks into the cabin with the pilot and stuff, and says,
Here, some blankets for the night.
How about some beds?
You don't need beds. You're gonna die tomorrow.
like, why would he need blankets?
They're going to kill him. Well, we wanted to make sure that you are at least warm.
Like, what's the distinguishing factor between, okay,
Like,
you're
just
going to
leave
die
them in
tomorrow, here's the stuff you can have, and here's the stuff you can't have because you're going to die tomorrow. You can have blankets. No pillows.
But not
no
a bed or a
beds.
pillow.
Do
You can have a Game Boy, but only the regular Game
And
Boy,
one
not a Game
battery.
Boy Color.
Do
One set of
they
batteries
sit in a
will die
cave
in 4
somewhere in
hours.
Lebanon and vote on what the prisoners can and cannot have?
Depending on how
Before
much
we
longer
kill
they're
them,
gonna be
can
alive.
they have Twinkies? Twinkies? No, Hostess went out of business. Oh, yes. No. Okay, so no Twinkies.
Not 1987, it didn't.
Well, maybe they knew.
1987 was a year after this movie, and also when Lee Marvin died.
Glad.
And Lee Marvin had giant eyebrows.
Super dead.
Biggest. The only person I can compare his eyebrows to, as far as like size, being around the same size. Have you ever seen Gladiator?
I want to say Eugene
Oscar
Levy's got
Brown?
some gigantic.
Gladiator, remember?
Yeah.
Giant. In every movie he was in, I thought it was just like they made him look like he had giant eyebrows. No.
He just really has those.
There were just fucking eagle feathers attached to his head.
Just gorilla glued on.
Ew.
It was fucking awful.
So the plot of Delta Force doesn't matter. The point is, Chuck Norris kills all the terrorists. He goes to terrorist headquarters, murders everyone, and then he wins.
It was directed by Menahem Golan, who actually produced Bloodsport and directed Over the Top.
He didn't direct
Well,
Bloodsport.
turn my hair around. It makes me a completely different person.
Yeah, like, he also produced Masters of the Universe and a bunch of other shitty Dolph Lundgren movies like Silent Victim.
Speaking of Dolph Lundgren.
And he did Cobra as well. And Life Force.
Oh
God
no!
damn it.
Fucking Life Force.
Yeah.
The only movie that has more
And
boobs than the movie
he
we're about
produced
to review.
Missing in Action and Missing in Action 2.
Yeah. Well, here's something that, like, I've watched a couple
Rapid.
of older Chuck Norris movies over the past couple of years, And I wonder how the fuck Chuck Norris got famous. Because
I don't know.
they're terrible.
Well, Walker.
Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah,
That's how
but
he
he
got
was
famous.
already huge and famous by that time.
I don't know. I think Walker is what did
He
it
had
for
made
him,
all
man.
those action movies between like the late 70s up until the mid 80s. Because, I mean, Walker didn't start until what, the early 90s?
I don't remember.
And it lasted for 7 or 8 seasons or some shit like that.
But it was huge.
Oh, yeah.
It was way bigger than those movies.
Way bigger than Highlander, too.
Don't talk shit about Highlander.
There's no need to talk shit about Highlander. It talks shit about itself.
Yeah.
Just the existence of Highlander.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't talk shit about itself. But it just contradicts itself.
That's
Battlefield Earth talks shit about itself.
So going along with Menahem Golan, like we said, he produced a bunch of really shitty
Dolph
Lundgren movies. He did not produce this one, which is Showdown in Little Tokyo, directed by Mark L. Lester, who directed Commando, which we've already podcasted, and Pterodactyl with Coolio, which we've already podcasted.
Pterodactyl.
Showdown in Little Tokyo stars not only Dolph Lundgren, but Brandon Lee,
Before he died, obviously.
son of Bruce Lee,
Yeah.
and Kari Hiryugi Tagawa,
Just say Shang Tsung.
who has been in so many podcasts.
Yeah, Shang Tsung.
He was in the Mortal Kombat podcast. He was
Wasn't he
in
one really recently?
Thunder in Paradise, Planet of the Apes.
Yes, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, he's just all over the damn place with these shitty ass movies.
He
Tia
might
Carrera.
be like what? He might be #1 villain podcast actor.
It's possible. It's very
Number one
possible.
villain podcast actor.
Yeah.
We're going to have like awards at the end of each season and say,
I mean, if we end up doing the Phantom, he's the bad guy in that too.
yep. We're doing the Phantom.
We're not doing the Phantom.
Tia Carrera, who is
Wayne's World
Cassandra from Wayne's World, is in it.
And her boobs.
Yeah.
Her boobs are in it too.
I was
A
so
lot.
surprised. Were you surprised?
I wasn't really surprised. She was in an issue of Playboy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did know that.
And I believe that Sato was Toshishiro Obata. I believe he was the dude from Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
And he kicks that dude in the face like for no reason at all in Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
an
yeah.
asshole.
So, Showdown in Little Tokyo is about this LA cop that was born in
Who
Japan.
might as well have just been a fucking vigilante for the amount of fucking paying attention to what the law is.
I mean, he is the Punisher.
Yeah. And
He-Man.
He-Man. Yep.
yeah. So that's all he does, dude.
He's
He just,
the stereotypical 1990s, 80s.
Oh, he's Mel Gibson from Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, I mean, it's stereotypical action cop.
It's not as funny as Mogan.
I don't
No,
I
he's
don't
sad
want a
because
partner.
he's sad because his parents are dead, and he's on looking for revenge.
He just literally murders his way to the top and then murders his way back down.
Yeah, and what are the chances here that, like, in Japan, okay, because Shang Tsung murdered his parents and stole their souls. And
when he was full grown.
Okay, because I looked it up. The guy that plays Shang Tsung is 7 years older than Dolph Lundgren, and Dolph Lundgren is obviously like 7 or 8 whenever his parents die. So 30 years later or whatever,
He would have been
Shang
an old
Tsung
man.
is the exact same age.
Well, that's he stole the souls. That's how he stays alive.
That's the only explanation.
And goes back to your statement in the last
About how
podcast.
Asian people don't age.
2 ages.
Yeah.
22 and 80.
And racism. Just racism.
Still not as racist as those Muslims.
Yeah, that whole movie was just racist.
Or
The
that
entire
one.
movie.
We'll go back 1 second. I do want to mention that one extremely racial picture
God,
in Delta
yeah.
Force where they just have the guy from American Ninja, the black guy from American Ninja, just a panoramic shot of him
God.
running through a cotton field.
Why?
Why would they have that?
So obviously, how could he actually sit there and go, "I'll film this scene"? Because you know he didn't make that much money off that movie. Because he was then in American Ninja not long after that.
It
Which
was
they
Egyptian
probably didn't
cotton.
actually pay him. They probably gave him cans of Spam and gift certificates to Winn-Dixie for it.
But anyway, back to the Showdown in Little Tokyo. I hated Brandon Lee in this movie. He was like the Dane Cook sidekick.
He was awful. But this was like one of his first movies, too. I mean, he hadn't been in very much before
I liked
that.
how bad he was. He was so bad.
He was the worst Japanese guy ever. I mean, obviously because he's actually half Chinese, but still, he was supposed to be playing a half Japanese cop that didn't know dick about Japanese people.
Yeah. Well, he knew Dick.
Yeah, he
Oh, he
definitely
did know a lot
he was
about Dick.
He was very familiar with Dick.
She was frightened.
I saw you strip down for that hot tub. I'd be frightened too.
What?
I thought you were gonna play the other.
Yeah,
clip.
he saw Brandon Lee saw Dolph Lundgren get into his hot tub, which actually was just a large bucket filled with water.
Yeah,
and
how
then
did he
Dolph
fit in
Lundgren-
there?
And then he got in there,
And then Tia Carrere got
and
in.
then and then Wayne's World chick crawled in there with him naked.
Yeah.
Like, how did she fit? How did she get around his monstrous dick?
She's got the crucial taunt.
She does. Fuck yeah, Wayne's World.
Brandon Lee loved dick in this movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, even after that, right before they got into that big firefight, he looks at him and says,
Just in case we get killed, I wanted to tell you, you have the biggest dick I've ever seen on a man.
Thanks.
why would that be the last thing that you're going to tell someone?
Why would you tell them that at all? Like,
And Brandy did
so-
make a fair point where she was like, why would he say on a man? Because he's a bigger one on a woman?
Maybe he's been to Tijuana. Saw a donkey show.
I once saw a dick smaller on a horse.
that's what he should have said. That would have been fun. Why was he even watching him get undressed to get into the hot tub?
Because he wanted to watch him bang Wayne's World chick.
Yeah,
That's why he was obviously just being a creeper, which Dolph Lundgren does bang her. She comes in and she's like, I'm scared to stay alone.
No, she's just scared of not having sex with him.
Yeah. And then she crawls into bed.
She's scared of not having sex with Dolph Lundgren.
And then she manages to pole vault her way onto his ding dong and has sex with him for 4 seconds.
And he
Dolph Lundgren-
looks like he's like in
just
math
doesn't-
class.
Yeah.
He looks mildly confused and just bored.
The most that he does is he reaches up and grabs her tit. And his facial expression, even when grabbing a boobie, he's still just like, tit.
It's like, oh, there's
straight
a boob there.
face.
I wish you were Brandon Lee.
Brandon Lee wishes he was Tia Carrere. That's what it was.
The awful acting in this. Well, Lundgren's not a good actor anyway,
No,
by
he's
any
not.
means.
But
Neither is Shang
no one
Tsung.
was expecting it though.
But, yeah, but his accent makes his bad acting even worse because it's that shitty European accent that's like mixed with
And
the
he's
American.
trying to be. He's
And
trying
he's
to just
trying
sound
to
like an
cover it.
American.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
he's trying to sound like a guy that was raised in Japan.
Right.
Which makes all the fucking sense.
Well, and then he says to Shang Tsung whenever he's reminding him of who he is
Last time I saw you, your face matched.
because he has two faces.
Yeah.
The sides of his face, your face was symmetrical. He should have said.
Right. Yeah. Last time I saw you, you didn't have that giant fucking scar on your eye that I made.
There's a big parallel there, though. I think between this movie and Ninja Turtles, and also besides the fact that the fucking Satsu or whatever his name is in it.
Oh, maybe Shang Tsung the Shredder.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm
Because of
saying.
the
Like,
scar on
Shang,
his face?
he's got the scar. He killed Splinter's parents, and then he, in the United States, ended up getting killed himself. Just saying.
So you're saying Dolph Lundgren is Splinter?
no,
What about
yes.
how
Dolph Lundgren is fucking.
What about how
Splinter.
creepy Shang Tsung is in this movie, though? Like, when he kills that one chick at the beginning with the sword with the worst decapitation scene ever, there's no blood.
Oh yeah, it's
I
like
paused
he
it. There
punched,
literally is no blood.
It's like he punched off her head or something. It
Well, I
was
mean,
awful.
It's like she was a fucking mannequin.
He thought it was going to be like a crazy sex scene or something like that, but it ends up just being him slicing off her clothes and then punching her head off with a sword.
Yeah.
And apparently it was redundant.
While being
because
watched
she was,
by all of his Yakuza flunkies,
Yeah.
including Free Willy.
Yeah.
What about whenever they follow all the Japanese guys to the
bathhouse?
sauna house, and there's that
So,
sumo wrestler.
they're
so
all wearing
many
sumo
diapers.
There's so much man thigh, number one. Number two, there's that sumo guy who gets in a fight with Dolph Lundgren, and he stabs him underwater, and he still does that same stereotypical movie scream. Like, they just added
Like-
bubbles to
Like,
it.
how is that a fucking Japanese guy screaming underwater? That was obviously not underwater for
That's
one
the
thing.
StarCraft screen.
Well, yeah, the Mortal Kombat screen. Oh, it's so shitty. And let's talk about the fact that whenever they left that place, a bunch of Asian cops showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're in Little
Well,
Tokyo
that's
in
because-
LA.
yeah, exactly.
Why would Asian cops show up? It'd just be the LAPD.
No, this is basic. It's Little Tokyo, but it's just Tokyo.
Right.
It's just a midget version of Tokyo.
I see. So, like, they have special Asian cops on standby at the LAPD to send to Little Tokyo.
Only
They
from
do.
Little Tokyo.
They do
That's
have
it.
that.
No.
Well, they don't want them to feel alienated once they
So
get
New York City has Italian police officers that go to Little Italy.
Yep.
And Chinese, yeah,
Yep.
bullshit.
That's
bullshit.
exactly how it works, Steven. God, you don't know anything about police work.
How
Or
about
sharks.
Brandon Lee's fucking horrible acting?
Oh my God! Just every line he delivers just so poorly, especially this one.
Well, he's like, you have the right to remain silent. you have the right to
an attorney.
To an
And
attorney.
If you can't afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you by court of law.
And in between all this shit, he's like kicking this guy's ass.
Yeah.
And then at
But
the end,
he's-
he knocks him into this boiling acid or
He
whatever
knocked him
it
into.
is.
I'm assuming it was some form of alcohol because it's a brewery.
Yeah.
But why the fuck would it all explode?
It was boiling acid.
It's boiling. He was boiling to death anyway. Why did he have to throw a fucking lighter in there with him?
Yeah, and right before it, he says,
You have the right to be dead.
This phone is dead.
Why did he have a lighter?
Yeah,
He didn't smoke.
No, he definitely didn't smoke.
Well, besides that, he's a fucking police officer. Why is he setting this guy on fire on purpose? Like, these guys don't give a fuck about the law. Why do they even bother?
I don't know. And even earlier in the movie, Brandon Lee's like talking to Dolph Lundgren. He's like, "We got to do things clean and like a cop."
And then they just go on a murdering spree and kill everyone. And then how about the fucking killing at the end? He fucking kills him, stabs him through his stomach, and yet nobody, like, they're having a fucking
we're not
sword
even there
fight?
yet. What about when Dolph Lundgren gets pissed as fuck when he's fighting at the Japanese guy's house and lifts up
the
that
hammy, fucking
lifts
oh
up
my
like
God.
a 1970s muscle car barehanded and flips it over and then shoots it one time and it explodes with his Desert Eagle. But it takes 3 shots from his Desert Eagle to kill a human being.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that part
Which
where
he always does.
that part where
Yeah,
he's waiting at the door for that guy to come up, and then he just like
Punches through
through
it.
the door and rips the guy through by his belt buckle.
So
funny.
impossible. Even if that door was made
And
out
then
of
after
fucking
that,
cardboard.
no, see, Dolph Lundgren is this shitty Terminator, is what it is.
He's gigantic though,
But
man.
then he
He's
walks
fucking
through
huge.
that window, like he just steps backwards
He
through
does,
that
he
glass
just
window,
walk- he
just
does
walks
walk
right
through
through
it.
it. It's the cheesiest, while holding Wayne's World chick. It just walks right through the fucking window. Just shit goes right through it.
It's
And
so
then he
shitty.
proceeds to jump his way down.
While still
Off the
shooting
fucking
people
building.
while holding her. Gangster shooting the gun underneath it. Bang.
Impossible.
That's another thing
Impossible.
is I noticed that like they were doing that side shot thing with
All the guns.
Mac 10s, but they weren't even doing it like normally. They were holding it underhand and shooting it that way.
Why?
So fucking awful.
And then there was the sword fight.
Yeah.
There's a couple.
You're not honorable enough to fight me
And
like a
What
samurai.
the fuck was Dolph Lundgren wearing at the end of this movie?
But
He
he was dressed like a samurai, but he was running around shooting people with a machine gun.
Dressed
gonna
like a
say, he
samurai
had a
my
fucking
ass. I could go to
AK-47.
fucking Nirvana
Actually,
at
I'm
the
sorry.
mall and go find a fucking button-down
No,
shirt with
sorry.
a tiger on it and a
He
fucking
was dressed
bandana with a flaming asshole
like-
on the front.
Like a drunken white hibachi chef. That's
Right,
what he was dressed
exactly.
Thank you for correcting
Yeah, it's a shrimp fried rice. You're not Japanese at all. You're not Japanese.
Yeah, dude.
Fuck you. I'm Dolph Lundgren. I'm
It's,
fucking
it's like
He-Man.
that dude from this recent episode of The League. It was Timothy Olyphant was playing a white sushi chef.
Oh.
He's like, I'm from Omaha. And he's like, Omaha? Like Kansas? He's like, hi.
No, you're not from Omaha. And fucking Dolph Lundgren never has even visited Japan. Just look at him.
Actually,
And
dude speaks like 6 languages and is like a fucking
Biophysicist.
professor. Yeah.
It's fucking retarded.
Yeah, he's
not a biophysicist.
Yes,
Yeah,
he
yes,
is.
he is.
He had his degree at
Harvard or
no, it's
Stanford
that
or
big
something.
place across the
Yale,
in Germany.
Cambridge, or some. I don't know. It's some giant college, and he gives seminars and speeches on like
Biophysics.
biology
Science.
and biophysics and shit. All
Yeah.
sciencey stuff.
so that
At
makes
Harvard
perfect
and shit.
sense that he would just... obviously, he would be flipping cars over and doing extremely bad lines. Just that's all he does.
Yeah.
In
It's
this
not like he
fucking
really
movie.
has to.
Well, and he's a world class martial artist as well.
Obviously.
Basically, you don't want
That's
to
why
fuck with
last
him because
time
if he can't kick your ass, he'll build a bomb and blow you up.
It's fucking weird though because he's so big that it's so awkward to watch him do martial arts.
It is really awkward.
Because what is he?
Brandon Lee
6'5",
points that out
6'6"?
actually at the beginning of the movie. He's like, all that upper body strength just slows you down. He's just like, that's why you didn't land a hit on me, man.
Oh, and then he makes fun of Brandon Lee, and he's like, "Your form's terrible. When did you start martial arts?" Like 4. You should have started earlier.
Yeah.
4.
But then again, Brandon Lee can suck a dick, and Dolph Lundgren pretty much haymakers through people in this fucking movie.
Yeah, Brandon Lee does backflips and makes no sense. I want to see how tall Dolph Lundgren is because he's at least 34
I don't
feet
think
tall.
the IMDb is gonna
At
tell
least
you.
34 feet.
At least.
Under his bio. Click on, see full bio.
I'm gonna see
He's
it.
6'5".
6'5". That's
6
pretty
foot
fucking
5.
tall.
That's a big bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's every bit of that, for sure.
He's got us by like 3 inches,
Uh,
and he can kick us in the face.
Okay, he has a chemical engineering from Sydney, New South Wales, Australia.
Yeah, that sounds like Germany. To me.
And Fulbright scholarship to MIT in New York City.
Did you know? Did you know?
So, yeah, it doesn't fucking matter.
He does not give a fuck if he makes a good movie or not. He's like, fuck it, I'm a genius.
God, that's so stupid.
No, Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm, Sweden.
Okay.
In Sweden?
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that he's pretty fucking smart. Which is
I love how all
bullshit.
the other facts, though, just totally made up. You're like, he's just a biophysicist and he just fucking invents molecular structure.
Chemical engineering and biophysics is pretty similar.
Nope.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, Philip's opinion doesn't count anyway.
Well, that's because he's a jerk.
He is.
This is a pretty good podcast about a movie. Just talking about
Mark was talking about how Dolph Lundgren was probably bigger than this than he was in Rocky IV.
I think so. I mean, he looked scary.
He was punching holes in people pretty much.
Yeah. What about when he stabs Shang Tsung with the sword and then picks him up by the sword that stabbed through him and throws him through the air and he sticks to that Chinese wheel of fireworks?
Oh my
I
god.
just couldn't quit laughing at the end of
Why
that.
did it explode? I mean, it wasn't
It caught
meant
fire
to explode.
and then just his dead limp body
How
was just
terrible
flopping
would that have
around.
been during that parade that they were at, the Japanese parade with all the fireworks? How awful would that have been? Because by that time, all the people have moved out of the way because there's this giant man fighting a tiny Japanese.
Right, that would have burned down
soul-stealer.
everyone.
Yeah,
Everyone would have been on fire.
Would have killed all the Japanese people. It would have been like Hiroshima in the middle of
Little
LA.
Tokyo.
Let's number one talk about the fact that that fucking sword sticking into that thing with him on it is such bullshit.
Well, you couldn't throw somebody. For one thing, that sword was probably a fucking prop. He just took it from a fucking random...
But he did. It wasn't like he was like, ugh, and heaved him. It was like a... It was like...
It didn't look like it was going to work.
And they
it totally
did the
didn't.
shitty camera angle, so it looked like he threw him like 100 feet in the air.
Oh, it's so assy. And secondly, let's talk about the fact that Dolph Lundgren's first name is really Hans.
Why the hell would he not just go by Hans? Who the fuck is Dolph?
Dolph Diggler.
Dolph Diggler, Hans Diggler.
I just
Fucking
want to
awful.
say that I fucking loved this movie way, way, way more than Delta Force. It was just
I don't like either.
so
of them.
many more action scenes. Delta Force was just boring.
And this was funny. This had a lot of
It
funny
was,
shit.
it was so funny 'cause it was so stupid. Like that whole factory blowing up because he just fucking tossed a lighter
And
into a...
It's a perfect podcast movie. Cheesy lines, cheesy action, cheesy special effects,
Lots of
boobs, and of course, like every other movie we podcast, one attempted rape scene.
Yeah.
Which Steven, for some reason, doesn't think was rape. But it was obviously rape.
Yeah,
Rape. Two, honestly, if you want to be a stickler.
Hans Stickler.
That's
Delta
what
Force,
this
Delta
was.
Force was kind of hard to podcast because it was just
boring.
boring.
Delta Force, I give one flaccid dick directly down towards the floor.
Like, but watch it if you like cheesy, shitty.
It's just too long. Don't watch it. Watch the fucking last 20 minutes of it if you want to see cheesy action. Like with fucking...
The horrible boss fight.
Dude, it was so bad. He didn't even land a single punch on Chuck Norris. Not even one.
No.
He was like, "Oh, I'm Abdul, and I'm gonna kick your ass with my crazy
Nice.
Middle Eastern fucking stupid bullshit." And he just gets his ass beat to hell. And whenever fucking Chuck Norris rides that motorcycle through that window, we totally fucking call that shit.
Yeah.
Why was
Like before, like 5 minutes before it ever happened, I go, Chuck Norris is coming through that window on a motorcycle. And he fucking did, dude. Oh,
So
and he
shitty.
punched him while coming through the window on a
Oh, yeah.
motorcycle. Like he was like,
That's like a 75-mile-an-hour punch right there.
such bullshit. God damn it.
How is it that glass can't hurt you in these movies? It just can't.
Oh, what about the shitty video game reference that Brandon Lee made in?
It was like a video game. You just defeated the first wave.
you defeated the first wave of enemies.
Well, that's why you're dead, Brandon Lee.
Yeah.
What did he die of? Being a terrible actor?
he
He
died
died
in
of
the-
being shot in the fucking chest on the scene of the
Crow.
Crow, or on the set of the Crow.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, his
Dude,
bullet
we're
was
dead.
made wrong or whatever.
Yeah, the prop bullet for the blanks were made incorrectly, and he died.
Glad.
He's dead.
Yeah.
You think about all the movies we would have had to podcast if he was still alive. Like all those fucking horrible movies he would have made.
I've seen almost every movie he's been in because my dad used to rent tons of action movies when I was a kid, and I saw Rapid Fire, which sucked. The only movie that he was ever in that really didn't suck was The Crow.
And he was only in half of it.
Yeah, because he was dead.
He was cut in half of it.
Philip, Bruce Lee's ghost is going to show up. He's going to show up.
Bruce Lee's ghost doesn't give a shit.
Bruce Lee's ghost is going to show up about you talking shit about his dead son, but then instead of fighting you, he's just going to teach you how to beat Jean-Claude Van Damme.
That is an awesome.
I'll
do
cock
cock
push-ups with Steven sitting on you while eating a popsicle.
Yep. No retreat, no surrender.
I'll do
That's
it.
the entire storyline of that movie, by the way.
Every bit of it. All of it.
Bruce Lee's go.
With that being said,
Oh
I think
my
that's
God.
all the time we have, and I would definitely say watch Showdown Lodi.
Lodi Toklio.
Yeah.
Shody Dody Lodi Toki.
Watch this Dolph Lundgren movie.
Seriously though, you really should. It's only like an hour long. It's totally worth
An
it.
hour and 17 minutes.
Yeah,
That's with credits.
That's such a short movie.
and there's tons of boobs.
And Shang Tsung.
It's
Yeah.
nothing but boobs, Japanese guys in diapers, and just totally murder all the
Ass
time.
kickery.
Yep,
Yeah.
total ass kicker.
And a leather jacket with the rising sun painted on the back.
If you're a huge Chuck Norris fan, watch the first 5 minutes and then the last 20 minutes of this movie, just so that you can see the transition between no beard to beard. And that's it. That's all I had to say.
And all the denim.
Yep. Terrible.
They're really both pretty horrible movies, honestly.
I'm Steven the Rose Rosenberg, and I got Phil the Kill Collins.
Nope.
And Mark Truckin.
Later.
See you next time.
Yeah.